Hi guys, welcome back. This is in continuation with the NDA series that we are doing. The next one is Sabash Gorkha. Our equitation classes started very well after the midterm of the first termers, and when they did, we were very slow. We were taught the parts of the horse to the types of equipment in its saddlery, as well as how to shoe a horse if required. If we had imagined that we would be allowed to gallop on horses freely on the glider room, then we were sadly mistaken. It was taut in a circle within the equation lines for days on end, ending with the class with three thumbs on the neck of the horse with the command Sabash Gorkha. Towards the third and fourth terms, we were made to do lane jumping. Some guys who had the knack did it well enough, but I was always hanging onto the neck of the horse by the third jump. NKS Yadav had a memorable experience during the lane jump. The horse he was riding stumbled and fell. Nothing happened to the old Yadav, and he dusted himself and walked away. But the poor horse died, and he told, "Sala Gorkha mar gaya." was that he had to say. NKS Yadav had a new name since then, Horse Killer Rider. The next chapter is Fort Singra. This is a very beautiful fort visible on the skyline from NDA. A nice place for a picnic, you would think, imagining a lazy afternoon and a lots of fun. Nothing could be further from the truth. A devious mind converted a trip to this magnificent fort from a pleasurable affair to a rape of the highest order. An act of indiscipline in the academy could prompt a devotee to bark to the erring individual. 5x singer hikes. Besides the tremendous physical exertion in climbing up to the singer, collecting a token, and immediately heading back to the academy, all within a stipulated time frame. What was most devastating was that these hikes were planned on Sundays. If on a Sunday late afternoon you saw a dejected, tired, and sweating cadet in FSMO, you knew exactly where he would have been that day. No, thank you. I don't want to see Singer again. I have seen enough of it. Yes, but there was always a silver lining to those dark clouds. There was an unwritten law, at least in Juliet's squadron, that the Sunday morning tea eats were the property of the poor blighted Singer hikers. So whenever I did Singer, there was a pack of Mary biscuits in each of my FSMO pouches, and you won't believe it when I tell you that I had downed them even before the climb started, somewhere near IAT Pune. Boxing. Whether you like it or not, you have to box in NDA or get boxed in something called novice boxing. Two poor blighted first-timers were put in a boxing ring and let choose on each other, with a stern warning that in case they do not do justice to this infernal sport, then the PT star would come into the ring to show them how. So it was a devil's choice for the poor burghers who rightly decided that they might as well as swing their arms at each other and get done with it. I still remember those 3 minutes in the ring seemed like 3 hours, but in all fairness, I must admit that there is no better way of getting to know if a guy is sissy or otherwise. Then there was there were guys who just kept their handed hands in front of their faces waiting to see what would happen. One solid punch on the nose would change their palisade Gandhi outlook on life, and it was pure fun to see how they changed their outlook from defensive to offensive. But one thing is common about all abouts is each contestant embraced the other warmly after the results were announced, in all probability due to the relief that the agony was finally over. But Novice's boxing wasn't the last I saw of those clubs. To my utter horror, I realized that my current standards, I was recognized as a good boxer and expected to fight as a part of squadron boxing team in the inter-squadron boxing championship held every alternate term. And fight I did and pretty well too, reaching the finals in the fourth term. Dimpy Bhardwaj and I bloodied each other quite royally in that fight, and even though I lost the fight, my QLQ, that is, officer like quality, notched higher in the bargain. In my second term, I was made to fight a Ghanaian naval direct called Dennis in his novices boxing. My heart wasn't in it because I had been forced into this. There were too many boxers in the higher weight category. Anyhow, I got knocked out by Dennis, and the moment the referee had counted up to 10, I got up and walked out of the ring. Very indiscreet, you would say, and I agree with you. My poor OLQ graph plunged in a southerly direction. But wait, the story has a happy ending. 2 terms later, another naval direct from Ghana by name Dokti joined the academy, and once again, yours truly, Bobby Shah, was told to meet in his novices boxing. My cup of woes grew bigger and bigger when I went when I learned that he had knocked out Dennis, my old opponent, in Ghana. Anyway, this time I was mentally prepared and I had managed to last out these 3 terrible minutes in the ring with Dusty, giving him a good as I got. I lost the bout, but the way I was congratulated by one and all, including Major S.K. Sharma, my squadron commander, made it definitely worth the while. I presume that my OLQ graph may have got a new lease of line moved towards northwards because I was awarded a trophy called Best Progressive OLQ in my sixth term. Gold market. Coming to the gold market was like a breath of fresh air as we had been transported back to civilization from Kalapani. Apart from shoe polish to brasso, one could get delicious chicky and other cats in this market. In the junior term, it was possible to visit Gold Market only on Wednesday, Saturday, and Sundays, that too in our walking outs, whereas the fifth termers and sixth termers went whenever they felt like, in wherever dress code they felt comfortable. Thus, by unwritten law or tradition, whatever else you may call it, we learned the perks and privileges some comes with seniority, and a senior is a senior and a junior is a junior. To this day, I address an officer of the 39th NDA course as Sir, even though he may have been suspended or retired, and the same is true for every young man who has passed out of the portals of this wonderful institution. Cabin cupboards. What a misleading name for a cabin inspection. For that is what it is. Every time of clothing, equipment, shoes, and other paraphernalia in a cabin had to be in its proper place at the last millimeter and sparkling clean. Every time of clothing in the cupboard had to be measured, piece of a cupboard stuck in it to give it a correct rectangular shape. Box to be in line with the edges of the bed. Net bag in the corner of the room. I can never forget my very first cabin cupboard, taken by CSM VB Negi of the 35th course. As I stood at attention outside my cabin, reasonably sure that the cabin sergeant, sergeant major, would be quite satisfied that the state my cabin was in, Negi glared at me as he walked in. He rubbed his index finger on the underside of the study table and then wiped the dust covered finger on my nose. If you please. This is your bloody standard for the cabin cupboard, he roared. I realized then there was a lot effort required to put in by me for him to be satisfied. When I see the mess made by two sons, Miraj and Faraz, in their untidy rooms, I wish they could have been put through the Negi's cabin cupboards. Time flew by in NDA. We could keep track of days by the abbreviation DLTGH, that is, days left to go home. Before I knew it was the second term, and it was my turn to bullshit the new errands. But being a soft hearted chap, I really didn't trouble the youngster too much, and neither did I ask anybody the name. Though I distinctly remember one incident. I had asked a first termer, "You, yes, I am speaking to you, distinctly remember. You ass, do you know what a pondy is?" The poor chap replied, "Yes, sir. He's the ACA." I couldn't help but burst out laughing at the ACA, VKS Pundir of the 36th course being called as Pondy. Though, mind you, I didn't dislike the idea at all because VKS Pundir was the big sadist and he really turned the academy upside down. Gypsy Chaudhary, who had been relegated, had joined our course now turned his attention and bullshitting skill towards the new freshers, that is 41st Juliet. I have never forget the following spectacle. Gypsy, all the 5 feet nothing, hanging on the collar of a gangly 41st Juliet, some 6 feet 2 inch tall, standing like a rock, looking down his nose at Gypsy. You bloody chap, what do you think, Hanuman? Roared Gypsy. No, sir, I am a cadet gangly, murmured the giant. Hope you like the video. Please share, subscribe, or comment your advices below. Thank you.